it is time for our final guest of the evening. At least it's my evening. We've heard from so many fantastic people with diabetes about the highs and the lows, and we thought, who better to finish off this evening than somebody who's been living with diabetes for almost 50 years. One of our beloved dedoc voices. Welcome to the stage, Rick. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I've really enjoyed the day. It's been so much fun to listen to everybody, and it's great to be here this afternoon.
Well, we're so happy to have you. Your story with diabetes is incredible. I've heard it all before, and I can't wait for everyone else to hear it. So tell us a little bit about yourself, 49 years of diabetes. How did it all start?
Well, for me, it started at Disney World, which is where I was diagnosed, which proves it's not always happiest place on earth. But for my family, it really started back in the 1940s. My aunt was diagnosed in 1947 at age 7. Unfortunately, she passed with DKA and organ failure in 1950 at 10 years old. Yeah. My mom was diagnosed at about 1962, and she died in 1986. And I was diagnosed in 1974, and here it is, 2013, 49 years later, and I'm still going. It's been a remarkable journey, and I like to say that I'm living proof of the fact that our technology, our advancements are working, and I'm also living proof of what it means to be in community.
So can you, I think we have some photos to share as well of your aunt and your mother there. Beautiful photos. Can you share a little bit about what it felt like to get that diagnosis yourself, having known about these family members?
It was devastating. I was so angry. You have no idea how angry I was. Angry internally, and that anger lasted a long time. It sabotaged me as a person with diabetes. It sabotaged how I reacted to the disease, how I treated myself, and it was I was terribly angry. And it wasn't really until the early 90s that it was when I received my diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis that I said to myself, what a gift. My mom fought for life for years, and she would have given anything for one more day on this earth. And if somebody would have traded her one more day for 10 years of rheumatoid arthritis, she would have taken it. And I thought, I have been given a gift. I really have. The second disease is...
It's opened your eyes to that.
Yeah, it was just a true wake-up call. And I began treating myself in a far more kind way. And I'm happy to report that when I went for 5 years without seeing a doctor, any doctor, which one could do in that time. But my first A1C was right around 15. Today, my A1C's average around 5.5. And I always say it's because of the person I married, who decided she would stick with me, science and good luck.
So let's talk about that person you married then. She had a huge impact on you.
Yeah, she sure did. We were married.
You see her here.
I met Cheryl in 1974, just 2 months after my diagnosis. And I met her in United States government class, our senior year. I like to mention that I asked her out 3 times and she said no 3 times. In fact, the third time she said, hell no, quit asking me out. And we parted, went on our separate ways. And I was at college. And in 1976, she called me for a date. And I want to tell you, that is something that females did not do in 1976.
So what role does diabetes play in your life, in your marriage?
It's everything. I mean, not a day goes by that we don't treat this together. She is as much, sometimes more invested in diabetes than I am. And I always say that, the people we love are really our type 3s. They are the people who don't have diabetes, but they live diabetes. And Cheryl is one hell of a type 3.
We also often talk about type F for friends and family. And I can relate to that a lot. I've been with my type F for 14 years, just as long as I've had diabetes as well. And just last night, I had one of those really horrible hypos, went into raccoon mode, ate everything. And of course, I woke up feeling horrible. And it's just fantastic having somebody who maybe doesn't get exactly what it feels like, but just does their best to empathize and be there for you, make you that cup of tea. So how do you deal with these things, and what is it that Cheryl can provide for you? Shout out to Timo, by the way.
Yeah, one thing that Cheryl really provides to me is this sense that we have to keep going, because there have been so many times in my life when I thought I'm just going to give up. I just can't do it anymore. And she says, we have 3 grandchildren. This is the best time of our life, or this is the middle part of our life, or it's the beginning part of our life. And Rick, we just have to keep going. And there is nothing like that. There is nothing like having that cheerleader, that person who complains, because she certainly does sometimes at my decisions. There's nothing like the person who says, Rick, I think you need to get some mental health therapy. There's nothing like that persistent voice of, I need to do this one more time, if only to not let her down.
So we've already seen that question pop up for the audience, but I'm also going to ask the same question to you. Do you have tips for anyone watching for a long and happy marriage or relationship with diabetes alongside of it?
So I don't think there's any magic. I think that realizing that I think we have to be honest. I think we have to, I asked Cheryl to marry me, and I got right afterward, I had to confess to her that I did not think it was a good idea. And
because of your diabetes.
Yeah. I said, I just don't think that you understand what a life living with a person with chronic disease. I don't think you understand what that is. And she said, no, I don't understand it all. I'll learn, but I want to be in it with you. And I vacillated for almost a month. And I finally said yes. By the way, I was married when I was 19.
Wow, that's incredible. And we saw your marriage, your wedding photo just now. It's beautiful to see. It's such a heartening example of love and companionship, because it doesn't have to be a relationship. It doesn't have to be your partner. It can be a friend or anyone else who gives you that feeling of being supported with diabetes and with all the other ups and downs, right?
That's 100% correct. In my life, I saw my mom and dad, who were so committed to each other, and I saw the trials and tribulations of my mom's journey. And that's what I thought we would have. That's not what we've had. We've had it much better. Science is so much improved. And no, you do not have to have a life partner to have somebody to share that with. Kind of a funny story. I was not using a pump, and my doctor was after me to use a pump, and Cheryl wanted me to use a pump. Everybody was talking about pumps. And I was a school administrator. I went to speak with a group of kids in high school who had diabetes. There were 7 kids there with pumps, and I was the only person in the room who wasn't using a pump. And I left that discussion. I got in the car and I called my endocrinologist. I said, get me a pump, and because there's no way I can be this far out of style. And 2 weeks later, I had a pump. And so, we have to look for what moves us in the time that we get moved.
Yeah. Wise words. Thank you so much, Rick, for sharing your life story. It's incredible. I'm so happy that you got to share this with the whole community out there. And I'm so happy that you were our very final speaker of the night. Thank you.
Thank you so much.